What's up, YouTube? I am here recording a video, and I wasn't sure if I was going to do it, but you know what? I decided I'm going to do it because if this video can help or inspire one person, then that's good enough, right? And I'm all about converting my experiences to the highest good of others. So I am day 3 post-op of gynecomastia. So if you don't know what gynecomastia is the development of fatty breast tissue that happens typically in a couple different instances. One, it's really, really common for boys to get it during puberty. And the way that it forms, from my understanding, is because of hormone imbalances, right? So as you're going through puberty, as a boy, you typically get a really large spike in testosterone, right, as part of the process. And as a result, your estrogen levels they also increase as a way to balance out. And when your estrogen increases, then what happens is it develops fatty breast tissue. And so most of my friends actually got them during puberty as well. I remember them talking about them. But I would say probably in 80% of the cases, they dissolve on their own. The breast tissue dissolves and it goes away. And so the way it can show up is it can either be actual breast tissue or it could be like a little lump under your nipple. And so for me, I got it in both, but on my right nipple, it never dissolved and it never went away. So I've always had this kind of piece of fat under my right nipple, which made my right nipple always kind of poke out when I was wearing shirts, especially things like really tight shirts like polos or thin shirts, or like those like compression like Nike type shirts like the Lululemon or whatever, right? And so and it always just bugged me. I was always kind of insecure about it. Most people like never even really noticed it, but I noticed it and it really bothered me. And I think for me, especially because, I've been an athlete my whole life, I've been really into bodybuilding and building my aesthetics and just really into like my physical physique. And I always just saw that. And it really bugged me. And so I called it the nipple rock, and all my friends knew about it. And they all told me like it wasn't a big deal, but it was a really big deal to me. And so from its inception, right around 14, 15 years old, I hated it. I just thought it was just such an impediment. It always poked out and it really annoyed me. And so, yeah, it's been 17 years in the making. And so I finally pulled the trigger on it. So I went to a surgeon here in Austin, Dr. Caridi, and I just want to talk a little bit about my experience. So, I originally reached out to them about maybe about a year and a half ago. And because I was getting to that point where I was really getting sick and tired of this thing. And so what happened was I reached out to him. I did like a consultation. I sent him a bunch of photos. And ultimately, what he ended up telling me was that he would probably also have to operate on my left side. Now, to help you kind of build context and understand, I felt like my left side was aesthetically perfect. Like there was no issues. I was like, just get the right side looking like the left side. And he was like, listen, man, I've done 4,500 of these cases. And, 99% of the time, we have to also operate on the left side just to make sure that it's aesthetically symmetrical. Right. He's like, at the end of the day, man, if I don't have to, I won't. But like, you got to trust me here. I've been doing this so long. At the end of the day, my most important goal is to make sure that you're happy with the end result. And at that time, the thought and idea of getting the left side operated on was super overwhelming. And I was like, geez, I don't want you to cut into the left side. And so I just kind of let it go. And then maybe, I don't know, X amount of time passed, 13 months passed, 14 months passed. Then about 3 months ago, this thing really just started bugging me again in the way that it was like poking out of my shirt. And, I'm always posting content now and just, I've kind of built this personal brand and whatever, right? Like these silly stories that I tell myself. So I'm like, I got to get rid of this thing, right? It was really bugging me. And then taking my shirt off too, like at the pool or whatever. And like, it's really not a big deal, but like to me it was. And I know guys who are dealing with gynecomastia, it's like, that's what it is. It's this mental thing that messes with you. So anyways, I reach out to him and I end up securing a surgery date for June 19th, and today is June 22nd, 2023. And so, yeah, I was kind of counting down the days, I was counting down the weeks. And, the night before the surgery, I went and I saw a movie. I saw The Flash with my girlfriend. And like, man, when there was like 20 minutes left in that movie, it was probably 9:30, 10 o'clock. I started thinking about like showing up the next day. And I'm like, am I really doing this thing? And I opted for local anesthesia, so they didn't put me under. It wasn't general. So I was going to be awake for the whole procedure. And I started to like visualize laying on the table while somebody's like cutting me open and like scooping out shit from my chest. Like, started tripping out a little bit, I ended up going to sleep in the next morning, and I was really in my head. I was really reflecting on everything and thinking about like, this thing was a part of my identity, Barty, and he has his nipple rock and like all this shit. And I started thinking, like, when I was sitting in the waiting room, I was like, is this really, like, am I doing this? Like, it happened so fast. Now I'm here. I'm about to be go into the operating room here soon. And so it was really an interesting experience, because it's been a really long time since I had felt really a barrage of overwhelming kind of thoughts and feelings and stuff like that. Um, but I went in and I connected with one of the nurses, and she asked me a bunch of questions and made me feel pretty comfortable. And yeah, we went into the operating room, and there were some fears and there were some nerves. And so, they laid me down, and the nurses were good at making small talk and stuff. Of course, my face was covered. And so I thought that the procedure was going to be pretty painful. And there was a lot of fear and anxiety around, like, what was this thing going to feel like? So what did hurt a little bit, and I think everybody has a different pain tolerance, but when they initially went in and created injections around the area, that did hurt a little bit. There was a couple of them that like didn't really hurt. Honestly, I thought it would hurt more. There was a couple that went kind of close to where the gland was underneath the nipple, and that hurt. But it wasn't even that bad, honestly. It was like, out of 10 being excruciating pain, it was like little moments of 7, maybe 8, but they were brief. The injection goes in, like, it doesn't hurt that bad when a needle goes in. It goes in, it stings for a second, and then it goes away. So all in all, really not that bad. And then I laid there, and the numbing agent kind of kicked in. And it probably took about 15 minutes before the doctor came in. And then the doctor came in, and I believe they sent some additional numbing agents. They made incisions here as well. So not only do they have it right underneath both nipples, but they had a couple of incisions near the armpits, in which I believe they fed in more. I could feel like a liquid, like more numbing agent. And so eventually, like, it just got to the point where everything was super numb, and I didn't even really know when they started. I actually asked them because I could hear tools. And so, yeah, the whole procedure lasted maybe 45 minutes. It was pretty quick. And no real pain. There was maybe a point halfway through where I could feel a tiny little thing, and I was like, "Hey, can you add more numbing?" And they're like, "Okay." And they hit a couple more needles, which I couldn't really feel at that point. And then it was over. And it was like super relieving to know that it was all over, and it was crazy. It all just went faster and smoother than I had anticipated. The machine he used was like, it was like some sort of, I don't know what the machine was, so I don't want to butcher the name or what, but the one thing I could kind of feel, I couldn't feel it. There was absolutely no pain, but I could feel the sensation of like the chest of something like being scraped. Like I could feel a, but there was absolutely no pain. But that was the gland that I think that they were like burning out, or whatever tool they use. And so that was kind of interesting. But yeah, absolutely no pain. Super, super surprised. They did an incredible job. And so I'm now day 3 post-op. And so I want to show you what it looks like. So let me open this up. I actually haven't done this myself yet because my girlfriend's been helping me with everything. But so what I'll tell you, so what was pain like after? So first, before I do that, so day one, they recommend you don't lift your arms at all. Pretend you don't have arms. You don't want to apply any sort of pressure to your chest. You don't want to flex your pec muscles because if you bring blood to the area, it could cause what they call a hematoma, which is a big collection of blood, which it's pretty rare for that to happen, but they would drain it out, but it just causes issues. So, yeah, so I had my surgery at around probably 1:30, 1:45, or maybe even 2. I don't remember checking the time. By about 7:30, all the anesthetics started to wear off and my right nipple started to hurt really bad. Surprisingly, left one didn't hurt that much, even though there's a small chunk taken out. Right one was like pretty excruciating. And so they offer pain medications, Norcos, but I didn't take them. I ended up just taking Tylenol. And surprisingly, 2 Tylenol, extra strength, 650 milligram each, after about 20 to 30 minutes, killed the pain. Very, very surprised at how effective Tylenol is. I mean, we've all been taking Tylenol our whole life, but Tylenol is very, very effective at managing the pain. So I didn't take any of the opioid medication. Obviously, I do have an addictive type personality, so I didn't want to go in and mess with that. But first day, there was a lot of swelling. My right chest was significantly more inflated while my left one was like almost flat. And second day, it was a little bit better. Third day today, it's even better than it was. So I'm going to show it to you guys. All right. So as you can see here, it's like pretty flat, which is, wow, amazing, incredible. I'm really, really happy with the results 3 days into post-op. So as you can see there's little incisions underneath the nipple. And what I may do is I may overlay what the gland was and what they removed. I'll have to edit this. But as you can see, there's still a lot of bruising on the right side. But overall, man, the titty's gone, the little nipple's gone. And I'll show you some photos of what it used to look like as well. The nipple used to be puffy, but now it's completely flat. And, there's some bruising. They say the bruising can take a few weeks, up to 6 months, they say, for all the bruising and swelling to go away. But man, day 3 post-op, I mean, dude, this is absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. I could not be happier. As I look down, they're the same size, it's basically the same. There's a little bit of swelling here right here on this side, as you can see, kind of next to the bruising, but yeah, and the incisions are so small. I'm sure the incisions are going to be fine. Like, you probably won't even leave a big scar. I'm probably going to find some scar tape and stuff like that, or maybe some scar cream. I'm sure they're going to heal. You're not even going to be able to know. This one, you can see I've got these extra pads because they removed a much bigger gland from the side. It was bleeding a little bit extra for a couple days. And so she said, I'm probably going to remove these pads at night because tonight when I take a shower, because I don't think I need them anymore. I don't have them on this side. So what I have here is like a kind of a pad, and then they have these liposomal foams that just cover the area. And so, yeah, really not even that much pain. 3 days in, I'm so surprised. Like, I had my chest cut open and a 27-gram piece of fat taken out, and there isn't that much pain. I'm so happy with it. And so I have to wear this compression vest for, I think, like 4 to 6 weeks, 2 more weeks every day. And then after that, I think I can take it off at night. I've got all the post-op instructions and stuff like that I can share. Don't get back into working out for like 4 to 6 weeks. No heavy lifting, just all kind of the basic stuff. I've got all my post-op instructions here, which I can share with you. I'm sure every doctor is a little bit different, but yeah. So let me see. I've actually always had help doing this. Yeah, so that's it. I'm 3 days into this deal and feeling really, really good about it. It's crazy. Super, super crazy. I'll probably have to speed this part up. So yeah, I'm stoked about it. I'm stoked. It's been a long time in the making, man. 17 years I've had this thing, and I finally got it removed. And so, yeah, I wanted to jump on and share my experience. Dr. Caridi did a great job, but I've seen all his work, and I think he's one of the best in the entire United States. He's incredible. But 3 days into this thing, man, I am feeling good. I'm feeling really grateful that this thing is healing. The first day I was extremely mindful of not using my arms. Thankfully, I had my girlfriend here helping and supporting and just doing stuff and laundry and cleaning and all that stuff. So I recommend that you have somebody to help you at least for the first 48 to 72 hours, especially when it comes to taking this thing on and off. You really don't want to flex anything up here. You want to be as minimal as possible in terms of the effort and strength that you're putting into anything. But yeah, great experience. The nurses were very kind, very sweet. Dr. Caridi himself, awesome, made me feel comfortable. Has a good energy and vibe and presence and professionalism. It feels like you can really trust him. The guy's done, I think, nearly 5,000 of these over the last 20 years or so. So, and as you see here in the photo of what they removed, like I thought it was going to be all misshaped, but it was so aesthetic in terms of like, here's the chunk, and as you could see it, like I think it looked great, so I'm super excited about it. If you have any questions, comment below and I would love to answer them for you. I would love to support you in any way I can. I don't know how many comments this is going to get, but I will try to answer as many of them as I can. So this was a bit vulnerable for me. I didn't think that I would ever post a video like this, especially because my content is totally separate. But I figure if I can put this out there and it can get somebody to be inspired to take the next step or to let them know that they're not alone, then my job is done. So thanks for listening and thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.
That looks amazing.
Yeah.
You can really see your pecs.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's, yeah, super
And
good.
this was the one that was the bigger one.
Yeah, this one was
way bigger. And your areola was very
it was stretched out a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
How many months after are we?
It was in June.
About 6.
Yeah. Amazing. You don't work out at all either. So that's good. Yeah.
Did you up your workout since the procedure, or was this always your regimen?
I started working out more like maybe 2 months ago. I started getting a little bit more serious.
Would you say that this inspired that, or just like...
Oh, for sure. Yeah. 2.0 launch.
Yeah.
2.0.
Because it's just like, now I'm not fighting something, it's all...
Yeah, this took up so much mental space. Like, I was always thinking about it. Every day when I like put a shirt on, it's like, okay, like, you're constantly thinking about it. You're constantly adjusting. Getting it removed means it's like it doesn't exist anymore. And so, yeah, you don't think about it. It's incredible.
That's so good.
Yeah.
You're free from
And then also, when I take my shirt off, it's like, I love it now.
Yeah.
Before it was like, there was always like this little constant thing. It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was...
And what, since you were how old, were you kind
I've
of...
had it since I was 14. I had it since puberty.
And it
This
always
one kind of
just-
went away, but this one just stayed.
Yeah. You see this?
So you had, when you were younger, in both sides, you felt like, and one of them.
No, that was day
Left
one.
side was always like small. It was like non-existent.
Which is represented there, and it's very lowly took out. But
Yeah.
That's cool. It's just day one.
to make a match.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Very good.
Oh yeah, you can see it just really pushed that.
Mm-hmm. It's been about 6 or 7, almost 7 months since your surgery. So, and you've already kind of briefly talked just between us about it, but how has it impacted your life?
I would say the biggest thing is like there's no more like thing in the back of my mind that's constantly thinking about like how am I being presented right now?
Yeah.
You know, because like whether basically before this I'd only wear black shirts,
Yeah.
right? Because like you can't really tell.
Yeah.
But now it's like I don't think about it, and I know that underneath like my physique looks super good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say it's just the mental relief, and you don't notice it, but when it's gone, it's just gone. Whereas before, it just constantly was taking up space in my mind.
Did it take you time to adjust to that mental relief? Meaning, I have some people who they've constantly stared at themselves in the mirror and looked at their gyno for years, and when it's gone, it's kind of hard for them to let that go and not stare at it and think, is there something there?
I was just super stoked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
You
mean
didn't go through that.
the first 2 months, I was just always looking at it, just like so grateful.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you were able to let it go easily.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was done with it.
The way you describe it is crazy to me because other people describe it just what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the back of your mind. It's in the back of your mind.
Yeah.
In fact, I think the other video, the first one we did, my guest, he was saying that as well.
Mm-hmm.
That it was in the back of his mind all the time.
Yeah.
And he was able to let it go.
Yeah, and now it's gone, and it just looks super good.
Looks great.
Yeah.
All right. Was there a breaking point where you felt like it was time to do something about your gyno? Was there something that happened, an event, or maybe just a goal?
I think there was so many other things in my life that were getting super dialed in that I was like, this is like the last piece to achieve
Yeah.
perfection. And
Sweet.
it was true.
Yeah. And here we are. Let's see. What is something that has changed about your life since you had this surgery?
Well, I mean, a lot's changed since I've gotten this surgery. A lot of good positive things. But as it relates to this, I think anything that has to do with like a level of confidence, like I think my confidence has naturally gone up.
Mm-hmm.
Having my shirt off in any situation is like, yeah, way more confident. No worry, no concern.
Yeah.
What angle am I sitting at? Like, who's around? Who's looking at me?
Yeah.
Is their eye going down? None of that. It just doesn't exist
Has
anymore.
it affected your relationships at all?
What kind of relationships? Like,
Personal relationships?
well, all my friends know that it's gone now.
Yeah.
'Cause
Intimate relationships?
in that capacity, I definitely feel more confident too if my shirt's off and like,
Yeah.
don't see her eye go there.
Yeah.
Sure.
Very good.
Yeah.
And when did you notice that you had gynecomastia?
Probably when I was 13 or 14.
So
during
this came
puberty.
early for you.
Yeah. I got
Very
it
early.
like pubertal
Yeah.
gyno.
And you said it was on both sides, but one kind of did actually go away more than the
Yeah,
other.
left side went away, right
Yeah.
side never went away.
Yeah. Did you get made fun of?
No, because I made fun of myself. Before anybody would ever say it, I'd be like, yeah, I got a little nipple rock.
Yeah.
And everybody
That's a
knew.
good defense mechanism.
Yeah.
For sure, to laugh at yourself first.
Yeah.
Did you do anything like gain weight? I do have patients that gain weight to hide it. You didn't
No,
do
I've always been in pretty good shape.
Yeah. You stood out to me because you were confident when you came in here. You're just easy to talk to.
Yeah.
And so it's cool to see you just kind of escalate, you know? It's
great.
gone up.
It's wonderful.
It's gone up. What's something that you would want other guys to know if they're on the fence maybe about having this surgery?
Surgery itself wasn't painful. I thought it was gonna, like, the numbing agents work really, really well. You know, I didn't do anesthesia, so even
that is
while I was
something
awake,
good to know that you had local anesthesia.
yeah, local. I thought it was gonna be like, there was little points where I could feel stuff, but it wasn't like there was no pain. So I wouldn't worry about that. The procedure itself is like pretty quick. The recovery really wasn't that bad. Yeah, it's super worth it. I would definitely do it.
Yeah.
Definitely do it. It's like scary. You think like, you know, you're fucking, someone's gonna cut into you, you know,
Yeah.
it kind of trips you out a little bit. But it's super, super, super worth it.
If you had to say what the worst part of recovery was, what would it be?
The worst part of recovery was the first day. Like at midnight, I woke up when all the anesthesia wore off, and like it was just raw, and it was very painful.
Yeah.
But surprisingly, I didn't take any major medications. I just took Tylenol, and like 30 minutes it kicked in.
Yeah.
So the whole thing was manageable with Tylenol. You know, you don't need like opiates or anything like that. But that first night after everything wore off at midnight, the pain woke me up. It was pretty brutal.
Yeah.
It was like a 8 out of 10. And then in like 30 minutes, it was fine.
Okay. You were always a guy that would go to the beach with your shirt off or go swimming with your shirt off, right? Or were you someone who covered this up with your shirt?
Yeah, I mean, I'd take it off if I was out. Yeah.
So
it was more so like on a day-to-day basis that bugged me.
Yeah.
You know? So having that, like, you know, when I go out, when I'm here, it was just like a constant thing.
Yeah.
And it's oscillated too. Like there's been times in my life where I never thought about it, and then there's times in my life where I thought about it a lot, but to have it just completely gone and then my physique to look the way I want it to look is awesome. Yeah, it's super worth it.
Local is not an option for everybody. Most people have to have general. In his case, he had hardly any body fat, so we were able to do it with local. If you have to have a lot of liposuction, it's uncomfortable to do it with local. And you also have to be the right person. If you are afraid of needles, local is not for you. If you are overly anxious about coming here and doing this, local is not for you. You have to be strong in the mind to be able to tolerate it. And luckily he was, and he did really well. So I like that he was able to tell us about his experience with local, because we don't get a lot of that. So